Hello again, everybody. The Timix here. Welcome back to more of Let's Play Frostpunk. A new home, hard, noble campaign here, of course, scenario. And it's day 2. So the first thing I want to do is just get the time moving a little bit. A little bit after 5, people will pop up and say a few things. Joseph Weatherden, at least we're alive, not everyone's so lucky. Luke Haddon, sometimes I wonder what the purpose of our struggle is. And then I like to go until 7 o'clock. Okay, that's a little bit past 7 o'clock. But, not that big of a deal. Because at 7 o'clock is a good time to assign the labor. At least that's sort of what I've evolved into doing. Now, we got some new things going on here today. The calculus is going to be a little bit different. Main reason being because of the generator. Now, I could shut the generator down. In between, I went and timed this out. And if I shut it down, you know, how much is it going to cost me? All of that. As it turns out, it takes about 6.5 hours for it to, you know, go completely out. It's burning coal that whole time. Now, the work shift, when we might want to have it shut down, is 10 hours long. So we've got 3.5 hours of coal we can spare. But it's going to require another 6 coal just to prime it to turn it back on. So now that's 2.5 hours worth of coal. That's 15 units. And then, you know, that 15 units of coal, you can balance that against the fact that, you know, the medical post is then going to not be as warm. Take a look at our temperature overlay here. So the medical post would go down to livable as opposed to being comfortable. So it wouldn't be quite as good for the people in there trying to get healthy. And then on top of that, one of the things that took me a while to figure out, even though it's really not that hidden, but every other building, including, you know, the piles out here that are considered buildings, every other building so far that we've seen, and including more to come up, are like they have people in them for a certain amount of time. The hunting buildings are overnight, and the cookhouse is during the day, and these are during the day. These are 24 hour. Yeah, they're always there. And so I was thinking about, well, what do the employees do then? And as it turns out, if you look at them, like, we've got 2 that are staying home and 3 are working. They rotate them out. That's one of the reasons why, if you take any workers out eventually, quite quickly, really, the efficiency will go down, because they work rotating shifts, and unlike the other buildings, they're automatically rotated in and out so that stuff can be done. Well, I mean, if we do that, then we've got you know, a couple, 3 people that are engineers are going to be staying home in their tents around here, and it's going to be cold for them. So, you know, the bottom line is, particularly as a benevolent kind of ruler that I'm trying to be here, definitely is not worth shutting the generator down. So that leads to the question of, okay, how much coal do we need to have it running? And since it's running 24/7, you know, last time we were trying to get to 84. Well, 91. 84 plus 6 is 90, and the 1 extra to keep it going. So this time, we're going to need 144. That's 6 coal times 24 hours. So that's what we need every day. And, of course, it's going to be almost an hour until we open. So we're going to have, by the time work time starts, it's going to be 11 coal, basically. Maybe 10, maybe 11. So in order to get to that 144, we need 133, 134 coal. And we're going to start there. So how many people do we need? We need to get between 6 and 7 an hour out of each of these pots. So let's say we do 7. If I did 7 and 6, that'd be 13.2. And that would probably be just short of where I want to be. It'd be close. It might be enough. It'd probably be just short. So let's, we want to err on the side of caution again. So we're gonna put now we're gonna have to have 14 people on that. And you can see the labor pool shrinking because you've got 14 there. You got 5 in here. You got 4 sick. So that's already 23. 24? 14, 5, 19, and 4 is 23. Okay, nope, it is 23. And I should be... I'm missing one person somewhere that I haven't accounted for, I think. Anyway, that's not super important at the moment. Just checking. I'm wondering if I left somebody out here. I don't think I did. Okay, anyway. So where's everybody else going to go? Well, for the construction I want to do at the end of the day today, I need 20 steel. So it's time to start looking at steel. And if we want 20, well, 9 people would give us exactly that. Again, we want to be safe. And I've experimented with this in the past, and I actually will get the 20. So, I mean, I could really try to stretch it with 9, but I'm going up to 10. And again, the reason is that extra person or 2 on the wood is not going to give me enough to make a significant difference, so it's not worth, trying to really go that tight with it. So the other thing to look at here in terms of labor, we're going to assign all the patients, like all the workers, including the patients, has not been assigned to a workplace. The sick people are generally assigned last, and I think the hungrier people are assigned last also, but that could be, I could be wrong about that one. So I always want to assign them in order of priority. The most important jobs need to get filled first. So, like in a perfect scenario, well, first of all, obviously coal's most important, keep the generator going. Then I have a quota here on steel that I need to hit. So that was next most important. And in a perfect scenario, the cookhouse wouldn't be that important. You just want to have them get in there, whatever, cook whatever raw food you have into rations. We don't have any food rations, and people may start getting hungry soon. So that's going to be my next priority. So I'm going to put in 5, and I could use workers or I could use engineers. I'm going to choose workers in this particular case just because. And that now leaves me with 31. So I'm going to go with 10 workers, 5 engineers over here. And the reason I'm, again, picking these piles is because I'm going to build the gathering post down here at another time. There's 5 there. Max that out. And now I've got 1 more worker, and I'm going to put them over here. And I want more people on this one also, because this is a later on thing. But when I get this gathering post, I'm going to have it gathers stuff from the piles closer to it more quickly. Is something that I've discovered. It'll emphasize that. So you could actually sort of influence a bit the speed of things by where exactly you put it. And so this wood is going to get used up somewhat. It does send people to all of them, but this wood will get used up somewhat more quickly. So if I overemphasize this part, I can balance out what I know is going to happen. So that's there. So that's all of our employees, and there's no reason not to just keep trucking along. And I'm kind of curious where the sick people get assigned, because they will. But let's just see where we get. And I always want to sort of just, you see them trucking out here. I just wanted to point out a couple things. I'm going to pause it. First of all, if you look over here, you can see, let me get down in here, you can see the paths that they were doing yesterday. This is an example of it's of the dynamic snow here. This has been filled in. You know, you can see like most of the snow's melted off the roofs of these. They just got a little bit, but these are not. And again, that's because those are being heated by the generator. So there's all kinds of stuff like that that shows up. But also then over here, we've got all of these people headed out already to where they're going to work. And it doesn't actually get you any more resources. But just having them headed in the right direction is a useful thing for, you know, getting people ready to work, because the situation could be more complicated, where there are some places where they have to actually physically, like, they have to physically get to the cookhouse. I think. I could be wrong about that, but I have run into circumstances where it's useful of just getting the people moving to the right place where they're going to be. And it may not actually matter, but I like the aesthetic of it in any case. You see this troop of people, you know, they're all headed out to these areas. Okay. Then once it opens, you can see where people are and what's going on. Now over here, we've got one of the people that's in treatment over there. I assigned that one last. I assigned this one next to last, and you've got 3 more people in treatment. So again, that supports the idea. The treatment people get assigned last, and so now they're going to the least important areas. Now here, we don't even have that efficiency bar. It's like we've got 10 people, they're all there. And here we've got 7, and that's all working well. And we can see, yep, we're getting that 2.3 per hour. So everything, we can see we're building 40 meals an hour, and engineers work just as well as workers. I don't know if I've mentioned that already. But 40, if they cook the standard meal recipe, only when we have 4 food rations from 2 raw food, which means if you get down to 1 raw food, which will happen, then they can't do anything with it. So they need at least 2 to make a meal. So now we're going to have, I mean, everybody's pretty much assigned, and they're going to do their things, but I generally don't fast forward it here at the beginning of the day, because there is still some small moving around of labor. The cookhouse here, once it finishes, I'm not going to want the people there. So I'm just sort of going to wait for this to get down to 0, which does not take that long. They're doing, 40 of them an hour, and they are going to have the ability to make 100 meals. And you can see sometimes after they get them, like that number is going down. People are eating this stuff. Boom, there we are. Now it's at 0, and you can see it's flashing red there. That happens whenever something goes down. We got 75 rations left, so that means that 25 of them already got eaten in those few hours. So there were definitely some hungry people. I want to pull all of the workers out of there, and I'm just going to put a couple in here. And again, I'm trying to balance this out just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to go one more than that. I'm going to do 5 and 1. There we are. And you can see that we put these in there. One of those is in treatment, but these people want to eat. And whenever you pull somebody out of a building and into another, they will reconsider whether or not they need to eat. If they're at work, you get them to work, they're going to stay there until there's nothing else for them to do there, or until the work shift is over. And you see, it didn't take very long for them to finish that up, because they were in the cookhouse anyway. They have to go to the cookhouse to eat. So since they were there and then they left, they were able to, they were already there. They didn't have to go to the cookhouse. They're just able to grab food there real quick, eat, and then be on their way. So from here on, I've got people at work everywhere where I want them to be. There's really nothing else going on. So we'll just go through And I almost never use the super fast time, but this will get through the day in a decent period. And everybody's busy working. They're gathering all of their wonderful things. They're bringing them to us. And you see we're down to 70 food rations, but it's going to stay there now because everybody's at work and nobody's eating it. So it's not going to go down. And then once we hit closing time, the end of the workday, always want to pause it again there. Now we're getting close. It's always good to review what you've got.
Rest, folks. Works out today.
Yeah, it works out today. Time to rest. So the first thing I always want to do is just yank everybody out of their jobs. And this is one of those cases where I really wish, it's not going to be true for the engineers in here. As I mentioned, they leave work and do things on their own. They're the only ones who do in the medical buildings. I really wish there was a function for just relieve everybody of duty who isn't in what's the word? Just have them automatically leave their job when the shift is over or whatever. Just make them all unemployed. However you want to look at that situation. The game uses unemployed, so yeah, we'll call it that. It would make things a lot easier. I think I'm a little bit off center. Whoops. Just gonna turn it just a bit there. Okay. Anyway. So now we get to do some hunting for the first time. So we've got our 70 food rations, but that's one less than the people we have. That's not going to last a particularly long time. And in fact, these two are not enough to support this population long term. So we definitely want 2 full hunting parties. So we just want to go in there, workers only, max those out. And now here's an interesting there's a little trick workaround that's kind of tedious that has to be done to get this done properly. We've got a whole bunch of these people want to go eat before they go on the hunt. And that's actually not what I want them to do. They're going to get about 13 a day, but it doesn't show this yet, but it takes about 12 hours to do the hunt. And then it's actually sometime after that before they actually get everybody back into the city. So if you figure 12 hours from now, let's assume that I was able to get them all to leave right away. 12 hours from now. Well, that would be 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours before work, when they would come back. And then, like I said, they're not all actually going to come back that quickly. That's just when you get the food. Why you get the food before they're all back, why those aren't synchronized, I don't know. But that's the way it works. So, essentially, it's sort of a decision whether, do you want them to be, when would you prefer them to eat? And I would rather them to eat like at the beginning of the next workday rather than now. Because after a certain point here, the hunting hunt is going to stop waiting for people to eat and get there, and they're going to go anyway. They might wait, a few hours extra, but they're not going to wait all night. So, everybody's got to get over to the cookhouse, get their food, then come over here. So that just doesn't tend to work out very well. And you can always say, more centrally located the cookhouse. Maybe I should have put the cookhouse over here and the hut's over there. But then, then they've got to. They'll eat here, but then they'd have to go over to there, to the hut. That could be slightly better, but you can still make it work this way. So there's a way to trick them into eating later and just going on the hunt now, and that's through construction. So we're going to build stuff now anyway. Let's take a quick look at our resources. We've got coal, and we need at least 84 to 85 to make it through the night. So we've got about 10 more. And again, I probably, one fewer person there probably would have been just barely enough or not quite. So that was the right call. We've got 22 steel, so we got a couple extra there. And we've got 115 wood to build things with. And you notice, of course, due to the greater division of labor, I wasn't able to get as much wood this time. Last time I was on like 185 or something. So that's significantly less wood, but it's still some. And I did get steel, which we're going to need. Okay, so there's multiple things that I'm going to want here. So let's just start out with the child shelter. We're going to fulfill that promise. We're going to get that thing done. And we can put it anywhere. I've liked to put it up here sometimes. Whatever. And let me take a look at the... yeah, it's got a base heating level of 2, so it's going to be actually warmer. It's going to be more like the hunter's huts and not that. So I can kind of put it anywhere. But for now, I'm going to want to just, I don't want to stick it way out here because I want it to be in the warmth zone since it's supposed to be a warm place. So I'm going to put it right here. Although, actually, nope. I'm going to go over here, which is where I've done it before, and I'm sort of arguing with myself here. But I don't see a real good reason not to sort of set it over here. So I'm going to do that. Now, if you look at these, we got 9 going to eat. Oh, 6 of these guys are going to go build. So you put something down, convince them to go build it, then you cancel the construction. I haven't lost any materials. You get all the materials back because you haven't actually used them yet. And then all those people who are going to go build, they don't go back to eating again. Now they're willing to go on their job. So that's sort of the pattern. You just repeatedly place something. 4 and 1 going to build, so there's more. Until you've convinced everybody who can be convinced, to be working there. There's 3 more that we're going to get, and I keep hitting that street icon that I don't want to hit. Two and none there, but I got a couple from the other building. And as I said, this is kind of repetitive and it's kind of tedious. Now we've got 1 full. Oh, still working on that one. I didn't even want to do that. But I did get 1 more guy there. You can see the percentage go from 80 to 87. Okay, and now we've reached a point where they didn't want to go build. Okay, well then you just plop down something else. And these are things that I want to build in these locations again anyway. Now I want to get a 3rd hunter's hut. Throw that up there. What do you think about that? Yeah, we'll go build that. No, you won't. You'll go hunting. Okay, now we've got full hunting. So now I can just place down the rest of the stuff that I want to build. Now, of course, that means all these people, the ones that, especially the ones that were already feeling like they wanted to go eat, they're going to want to eat when they get back from their hunt in the morning. But I'd rather have that than not get the hunting done, and, that's going to hurt my food supply. So there's the hunter's hut right at the end of that road that we made last night. And then I'm also going to want to get a workshop up there. That way we can start doing research tomorrow. So we've got those 3, and this icon means it's not connected to a street. So we're going to want to make sure we put that street in. There it is. And now that means these streets under construction. It is connected, but it hasn't been built yet. And then we want more streets to come out here. Eight long, right to there. And that is because I want a gathering post over here. There we go. So you can see right now, right there, it wouldn't be there. It's connected to the street, and you see the green on these resources. If you move it away, it's white. So they'll gather from anything that's in green. I want all three. So I want it right there. It's going to gather from all three, and it is connected to the street. There we go. So the people working there can gather from any of these. And there we go. Street under construction. It's important to remember that with a gathering post, first of all, it depends on the resource somewhat, but they're significantly more efficient than just going to the piles, and it's also safer because they're gonna add their warmth. They only have one level, but it's better than nothing to the workers working here because they can grab stuff quickly, come back in, warm up, go back out again. So they're not having this huge amount of time back and forth in the cold. And then the other thing about it is workers are better at these actually than engineers. If you put engineers in, I've found the couple times I tried it, the engineers were getting a 9 or a 10% discount. Like if I had a bunch of engineers, I was getting 5.4 of a resource instead of 6 flat. So you actually want workers in these. So this is, obviously going to gather from these three, the 2 wood and the steel. So we can get a steady source of income there. Then the other thing is, obviously we're going to be gathering a bunch of coal every day for the steam generator. So I want one over here. I could put it anywhere, but it's sort of a synergy thing. Where in designing this particular build and how I was going to start up the city, I looked for ways to sort of accomplish multiple things at once. Because I wanted to have an artery out to the perimeter anyway to build some of these buildings like the workshop and the hunter's hut outside of the warmth zone. And then it was like, well, now that, this is one of the places where there's some space, I had them gather initially off of here for the initial coal because I was going to use the other coal spots for gathering posts. So these are completely full, they're untouched, so we'll be able to use these for quite a while. So if you notice I put it right here, this second one is not going to get covered. That's white, it's just not going to work. So I could just move it that little bit, but there's actually another building I want to put here soon. I can't make it yet, but I actually want to build something there tomorrow. So I'll just move it over that full length and place that down. Now we need a street for that to connect, and there's going to be, eventually this whole ring around the outside, so I might as well start here. And one of the interesting things about optimizing your streets, look at that, that's 6 wood, but it's not done because like just over, there's a little range here where it's 5, and it's 6 there, but it's also 6 here. So why not build it over? Because if I built 6 to here and then I wanted to build another street over to there, it would charge me another wood for it. Because a street of any distance at all is going to charge you at least the 1 wood, even if it's not a full thing. You don't get it for free. So I want to build it all the way over here. You can see it's giving me that due north thing. I believe that's what it's saying. Yeah, exactly. See, if we line up, we're exactly north. So that's in place. That's quite a bit of work to do when you think about it. These 2 streets, 2 gathering posts, child shelter, workshop, and hunter's hut. And the other thing about this is we don't have nearly as many people. We've got the 5 engineers are working in here, and we've got the 30 hunters, and we've got the 15 kids that can't do anything. We've got 30 people unemployed, 4 of whom are sick. So we've got 26 people, less than half. We had 65 people doing the construction last night. We've got 26 tonight. And they're not doing as much work, but it's going to be like more like per person. So this is going to be a long night of building underway. And of course, these people can, go eat too if they need to. See them following this path out here, building the street. Oh, they're starting to get hungry people, and some of them are the hunters, so they're not going to be able to deal with that until the morning. You see, nobody's eating yet. We're still at 70 on the food rations. Everybody's either hunting or they're building stuff. The building, there's a hierarchy. Oh, there's our shelter. Children cared for. The child shelter is ready, and the children are safe inside. People can work without worrying something will happen to their kids. Hope rises. But there's a hierarchy, and for whatever reason, building stuff is ahead of eating on that hierarchy, so I don't think they're going to even try to eat until they go, until they go do this. They also don't eat enough on their free time, but that might have to do with fatigue. Them just being tired, and, when you have them work during the day and build stuff at night, then they sleep, when are they going to eat? So, I've just found it best to have that get done the next day, in the morning, so. And we can see that we're going to stop again at 5 here. Boom, it's 5 in the morning. Go ahead and pause it. Now if we look at the overhead, you can see now, after 2 days, we're starting to take shape a little bit. We've got another building out over here, that's the shelter, and we've got, we've got a small cluster starting over there, and this gathering post over here. A couple roads going out. So most of everything is still right here around the steam generator, but there's other stuff going on. And then if we look in, 2 people hungry, that's not bad, and look at where our food is. 27. It was at 70, now it's at 27. So of our initial 100 food, 3/4 of it almost is gone. Again, that's why you don't want to dawdle with these. And by the way, we didn't use this one, obviously, because we're building it. But now we have 3 hunters' huts. You get a total of 50 workers to start. And these 3 can occupy 45. So that'll allow us from now on to send almost all of our workers out. There would be no point in building more. So we've actually reached like a limit. Well, you could always send out 5 in one of them, but not worth the cost at this point to do that. 3 of them should roughly come close to serving our needs. And if we look at our situation in here, we only have 1 worker in here less than an hour. Well, this is remarkably good luck, because that means soon he's going to be gone, and if we seriously didn't get anybody sick today, it doesn't look like we did, then we can pull the engineers out of here, and they can help with other work tomorrow. So if that holds up, that's fairly unusual. Sometimes do get some days like that, but more often than not, you're going to have people that are sick for various reasons. So that is remarkably positive fortune to have that happen. So anyway, that's day 2. Day 3 obviously will be upcoming next, and we will have more to work on. But now we've got the gathering post to improve our speed and our safety. So we're ready to start research. We're ramping our way upwards. So that'll be coming up next. And thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying this. We'll be back soon with more.